Good evening, it's Mrs Eames. I was chatting with Mrs Kitchener and we were thinking of what methods do we need to remind ourselves of that would be helpful for us when we're looking at our maths. And one of the things we always comes back to is how do we find factors of numbers. So I just wanted to remind you of the method that we use that is foolproof and works for even the biggest of numbers. Now, if you're in my maths group, you'll know that I have a pet hate. So Mrs Eames's pet hate when it comes to finding factors is using spiders. We don't use spiders. Why not? Because spiders have 8 legs and not all numbers have 8 factors. It's very upsetting when Mrs Eames sees spiders with 30 legs or 3 legs, 4 legs, when actually they should have 8. So we don't use spiders. And most importantly, you might miss a factor. So I'm going to show you the method that we use that makes sure that we don't miss out any factors. So I'm going to show you with a relatively small number, one that comes in our times tables quite often, so we know it a lot. Right, so the first thing I'm going to tell you about is the umbrella method. So 56 is the number that we want to find the factors for. So the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line that comes down on the left and a line that comes down on the right like an umbrella. Now we all know that every number has at least 2 factors, including prime numbers. And those factors are itself and number 1. So 1 is our smallest number. So we're going to put it down here on the left hand side. And 56, the number that we're finding the factors for, goes on the right hand side. And then what we do is we move to the left hand side. So the method is to make sure that we don't miss out any factors at all between 1 and 56. So the next consecutive number after 1 is 2. So we look at the number, does 2 go into 56? Now I know 2 must go into 56 because 56 is an even number, so I know it must be divisible by 2. So I've got some space down here for my jottings, just in case, because remember Mrs Kitchener and I both say it's better to do a jotting than to get it wrong in our head. So we know we can do our jottings really quickly. So I'm going to do a jotting down the bottom to make sure I don't make any mistakes. So I'm going to use my bus stop method. I'm going to put my 56 in my bus stop and I'm going to put my 2 outside. So 2's into 5, go twice and with 1 left over. So I move that over into my next column. 2's into 16, go 8 times. So 2 times 28 makes 56. So what's going to happen now is I'm going to go back to my umbrella and I'm going to bring another line down and it comes next to 2, because, next to 1, sorry, because it's my next consecutive number. So I put number 2 there. Now the pair that goes with 2 to make 56 is 28. Now that comes down on the right hand side next to 56. Now what's great about this method is that now I found out that 2 lots of 28 make 56 and it comes down here, there are no other factors in between 28 and 56, so I don't need to check. So the next thing I'm going to do is come back to my left hand side and the next consecutive number after 2 is 3. So let's go back to my jottings. I'm going to do my bus stop, put number 3 here and 56 inside. Now some of us know our times tables really well and we'll be able to do that straight away in our head. But if we're a bit unsure, remember, it's always best to do a jotting. So 3's into 5, go once. 3's into, carrying over the 2, and then 3's into 26, go 8 times, remainder 2. Now, because there's a remainder, it means that it is not a factor of 56. So we're going to cross that out. So my next number I'm going to check is number 4. So a 4 outside, 56 on the inside. So 4's into 5 go once with 1 left over. So I move that over. 4's into 16 go 4 times. So 4 lots of 14 make 56. So I go back to my umbrella and down on the left hand side goes number 4, and down on the right hand side goes 14. Can you see how our numbers are getting closer together? And by using this method, we know we are not missing any factors out, and there are no factors of 56 in between these numbers. Right, I'm now going to go to my next consecutive number on the left hand side, and that would be number 5. Now we know straight away by looking at number 56 that 5 isn't a factor, and we know this because multiples of 5 end in a 5 or a 0. So we know 5 is not a factor of 56. So I can go to my next consecutive number, and the next consecutive number after 5 is number 6. So I'm going to go back down to my jottings area, put 6 and put 56 in my bus stop. 6's into 5 I can't do. So I'm going to move the whole 5 over. So this means after 5 is number 6. So I'm going to go back down to my jottings area, put 6 and put 56 in my bus stop. 6's into 5 I can't do. So I'm going to move the whole 5 over. So this means I now need to use my times tables. Now, sometimes I do jottings again to make sure that I don't miss any out, and that's perfectly okay, because the quicker we get at that, we know we're not going to be making any errors. So I'm just going to write these down here. So 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48, 54, 60. So if we count, we want to go to the nearest number to 56, but not going over it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I can't go any further because I only need 56. So 9, 6 goes into 56, 9 times, and there'll be 2 left over because 54 counting up to 56 is remainder 2. So again, 6 is not a factor of 56. So I don't need to use that one either. So my next consecutive number after 6 is 7. And again, we are going to need to know our tables for this. So let's write them down. 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49, 56. So how many 7s are there in 56? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the 7 comes here, and then the 8 comes here. Now, what's nice about this number is these two numbers have met in the middle. There's no more consecutive whole numbers between 7 and 8. So we now know the factors of 56 are 1, 2, 4, 7, 8, 14, 28 and 56.